How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. This could be massive. This could be absolutely massive news for the market. There's some rumors going around that Tesla has been buying more Bitcoin just since a couple months ago. We're going to look at what's happening behind this, why people think this is the case, and why this would be so big. Also, take a look at the broader market. If you don't mind, hit subscribe. Turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this. There's also a link down there to Margex where you can trade cryptocurrencies on leverage. And you can set this up within just a few minutes. There's no KYC. You don't need a VPN. And there are tons of different assets that you can trade on this. There's also a 20% deposit bonus. So we just broke out a little bit. You can see we were on this downtrend, lower highs, and then all of a sudden, boom, went right above it to almost 68K. Pretty bullish action there. We also have altcoins moving up. For example, Ethereum up at 38.50 again. Solana nearing on 150. I don't even have to tell you about some of the other altcoins I've been pointing out that are up massive. Like I held onto an altcoin, or I've been holding onto an altcoin that's done 100% just yesterday alone, and is holding the gains. You can see Shiba up like 129% in the last 7 days. Like the market is getting explosive, and you can see that there's a lot of momentum. Like a lot of people are interested in this market. Views are returning, like retail's coming back. And I've had some people ask about that too. Like, hey, this seems a little bit toppy. We're getting really good views again. There are people interested in crypto. You have to remember, every cycle there are more people. So if you go back to 2017 and you look at some of the top YouTube channels, okay, how much did they grow into the 2021 bull market? Probably 10 times the views. Now, I'm not saying we're gonna get 10 times the views since last cycle, but there are tons of people that are coming into the market for the first time. And this might not be a top indicator because we've seen so many ETFs buying, we've seen so many people buying that this is natural to outpace the previous market cycles. Now, there is a rumor that Elon Musk's Tesla may have bought more Bitcoin just now. Arkham Intel has identified wallets belonging to Tesla and SpaceX containing the following Bitcoin. Tesla, 11.51K Bitcoin worth $780 million. SpaceX holds about 8.29K worth of Bitcoin worth $560. In January, Tesla reported holdings of only 9,720. This means that they would have bought another 1,790 Bitcoin. Now, I wasn't even going to make a video on this. I was thinking about not even mentioning it because there's some questions I have about it, but Bitcoin Archive, who's one of the biggest Bitcoin accounts out there, did make a tweet about it. So, I thought if he's willing to talk about it, I should be willing to talk about it too. So this came out from Arkham. They said that they identified the Bitcoin holdings of SpaceX and Tesla. And they said, we believe Tesla currently holds 11.51K. Now, when clicking on Tesla and like going to the Arkham website, you can see the balances history. This is the dollar value. You can see it was really volatile. Then they shed a bunch of Bitcoin, and now it's been going up. Now, the transactions have not shown anything new, any new transactions. But the total holdings do show 11.5K worth of Bitcoin. So I'm not exactly sure if they really did buy some more Bitcoin, because again, there are no transactions or inflows showing that they bought more Bitcoin like the last ones were years ago, but they do show a difference, and they're one of the most respected companies in the space when it really comes to digging into wallets. So they think that they do have more holdings than what they just reported. This could be a mistake. They could be wrong. Or maybe there's something that I'm missing here. Maybe they really did add some Bitcoin. They also have, other accounts are also talking about this. Tesla buying more Bitcoin. This is from Simply Bitcoin, which is another big Twitter account. Marty Party talks about how SpaceX is holding 555 million. And we knew that SpaceX holds Bitcoin. I think they might even hold Ethereum. I can't remember, but I know they hold Bitcoin. They talked about it, or Elon Musk talked about it 3 years ago. He talked about how he holds Bitcoin, how SpaceX, and also how Tesla hold Bitcoin. We didn't know how much, but that's a large amount of Bitcoin for SpaceX. I mean, they've been holding this for years. Obviously, they've grown a lot over time, but this means that they had 550 million in the last bull run, or close to it, right? They held hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin while they were still like raising funding. Like they think that this is worth putting some money into, even though they needed more money to scale. Like they were still in a place where they need to get money. They were diluting or adding more investors, but they still said, we need to put some money into Bitcoin, which is really interesting. Now, this is big if Tesla did buy some more Bitcoin. As of February 1, we got the news that they held 9,720 Bitcoin. I'm not sure if they count maybe some payments that they got for Bitcoin separately. I'm not exactly sure, but we do get their next earnings report in about a month and 12 days. So maybe 6 weeks from now, we'll get their next earnings report. If they do buy Bitcoin, which they said that they would start accepting Bitcoin again when the miners start to cleanly mine Bitcoin, if it was like 50% clean, and it is, renewable resources and such. So I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do from here on out. Like, it could be that they added some Bitcoin. They have 30 billion in cash. They could have added a couple hundred more million of Bitcoin and no one would blink an eye. If they do add Bitcoin, that's going to be a huge narrative. Like, even if it's fake, it could run for a little bit that this is a huge narrative, that Tesla is adding more Bitcoin again. This is one of the things that shot us up last bull market. And even if Tesla doesn't add more Bitcoin, I think there are going to be more companies that do add Bitcoin to their balance sheet. And we talked about that in a video yesterday. But the FASB accounting rules did change recently, which means that essentially companies can report Bitcoin differently. In the past, every time that you bought Bitcoin, if the price of Bitcoin went down, you had to write it as a loss. And if the price of Bitcoin then went back up, you couldn't account for that. They wouldn't let you say that you gained on it. They said you still have to keep with the value of the lowest price it's ever been when you've been holding it, which is just nuts because that's not how much it's actually worth. So if you were still holding Bitcoin and we still had those accounting rules, well, if you bought 2 years ago, you'd have to write down your Bitcoin from whatever price you bought it down to 15,500, which was the depth of the bear market, and then just leave it there. Essentially, it could be worth $1 million per coin, and you'd still have to say that it was worth 15,000. But now this has changed, so it makes it much easier for companies to buy and want to buy, right? Like, it doesn't show as a massive loss on your balance sheet, and we know that there are a lot of bigger companies that are allocating towards Bitcoin through the ETFs that want to hold it in their portfolio. So there are going to be a lot of companies that just get access to Bitcoin, not even holding them themselves, but they just start buying up allocations in some of these ETFs. So this does add a lot of buying pressure to Bitcoin if more companies do this. So that's really why I wanted to cover. This is kind of crazy news. Now, there was some news too about short-term holders transferring a record 4.3 billion in profits to exchanges. This is probably why we're seeing a bit of a wall right now. They say short-term holders, investors who have held Bitcoin for less than 155 days, transferred 65,000 Bitcoin in profit to exchanges on March 6th, which is yesterday, according to the data from Glassnode. This marks one of the highest amounts ever sent in profit in the past 5 years, only surpassed by April 2019's record of 75,000 Bitcoin that were sent to exchanges, but this is when Bitcoin was $5,000. So you can see just this massive short-term holder profit. So people that bought like maybe ahead of the ETFs or a couple months before the ETFs, they started buying. Now they're selling. Now, is this going to last? No, probably not. These ETFs are swallowing up so much Bitcoin, they can swallow up some people taking profits. Keep in mind, this is literally while the Bitcoin price was recovering. Like, we took a big dip 2 days ago. Yesterday, we kind of moved from 63 up to 66. And this is while short-term holders were taking massive amounts of profits. So it is interesting. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. Of course, you can check out the links to Margex in case you want to start trading cryptocurrencies on leverage. There's also a link down there to CoinW in case you want to start trading there, and you can buy spot cryptocurrencies. We've seen Coinbase and Binance go down or freeze withdrawals. It's important to have multiple exchanges ready. There's also a link down there to HGAlgo, which can show you bullish and bearish momentum signals, and it connects straight to your TradingView, which can be super helpful, especially in a bull run when you're trying to figure out, okay, is this market turning bearish or bullish? And you can look at it on all different time frames and on different assets. I show it on Bitcoin constantly, but you can look at it on Ethereum. You can look at it on anything that shows up in TradingView, stocks, indices, Bitcoin dominance, all that. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.